Thank you very much. As you know, the Attorney General, Michael Mukasey, and Mayor Rudy Giuliani, longtime friends and cohorts and co-workers. Let's just bring it to the first story today. Around 1 o'clock today, the President of the United States might be having a step aside, a pull aside, a shaking hands with the President of Iran. Should he do that, Mr. Mayor?
I don't believe this is the point at which he should be shaking hands with him. There should be a lot more demanded of Rouhani. Rouhani is a person who's been responsible for the murder of thousands of people. We think he's responsible for murdering 52 Iranians in Iraq on September 1st, dissidents and has seven hostages headed there. This man has a lot of blood on his hands. He should be required to go through a couple of steps before he gets to talk to the president. Yeah. Like he should be willing to give us an inventory of all of his nuclear facilities. Like he should start dismantling them, and we should have inspectors there, and the inspectors should start inspecting so we don't repeat the mistakes of the past. Right. Last time he threw them out.
Sure. I've got a feeling, Judge, that that particular, if the president does meet with Mr. Rouhani later today, this topic that you guys are here about, where these 52 dissidents were murdered in a hospital on the first day of September, this is not going to come up. And a lot of people haven't heard about it. What happened?
Well, what happened is this is a group of Iranian dissidents who have been in Iraq. We promised them in 2003 that they would be protected persons. We then pulled out, turned them over to the Iraqis.
They're on our side.
They're on our side. They have provided us with information about the Iranian nuclear program on an ongoing basis.
And one that we didn't even know existed.
Exactly.
Correct. And the Iranians have been trying to shut them down. And I don't think it's any coincidence that this happened just on the eve of the kind of make nice charm offensive that the Iranians are launching. And so that they shut down a potential source of intelligence. And what we're trying to do is get the United States government to get the remaining people out of there before they too get massacred.
Yeah, and we know that they have the hands, direct and indirect, in killing of our guys in Iraq over the last 6-7 years.
This is a mafia hit. I mean, I know a lot about mafia hits. This is a mafia hit. These people were hit to shut them up, to shut people up inside Iran, because here's what Iran plans to do. Iran plans to negotiate with us, and at the same time, very secretly, continue to go ahead and become a nuclear power. Hey, gee, did I make that up? Or did Rouhani write that 5 years ago and brag about the fact that he fooled us? This president's going to shake hands with this guy, and the guy has written, hey, I made a fool out of you 5-6 years ago. I was negotiating with you, and it didn't interrupt us one bit in enriching uranium. He wrote that, so they're planning to do that. Now, this group was the group that put the lie to that 5 or 6 years ago.
That's right.
It's their people inside Iran that got the information.
Is it the MEK?
It's the MEK who have been very, very useful to us in getting us information like Iran's lying to you. They really are enriching uranium. And they've been very useful to the Mossad, frankly.
So why hasn't this come up?
Well, they happen to be our friends. Are we taking care of our friends now in the world? Or do we double-cross our friends and kind of suck up to our enemies?
And see, what's important to know about this is that while we say that it was the Iraqis who hit him, you know, you characterize it as a mafia hit. The Iraqis did it, Judge, for the Iranians.
Absolutely.
Of course. And in fact, some of these people said that some of the people who assaulted them were talking Farsi. So they had Iranians on the scene directing it.
Right. What are the chances this will come up if there happens to be a happenstance meeting between the presidents?
Roughly the chance of me being the next pope.
Right. But the MEK was listed as a terror organization for a while by the U.S.
It was listed by a terror organization also for, this is like repeating history and getting it wrong again. It was listed as a terrorist organization back in 97 and 98 because President Clinton wanted to make nice with Rafsanjani, who was then the reformer of the day. He was the taste of the month. Right. And Clinton decided, if we make them terrorists, we will ingratiate ourselves to Iran. Iran is constantly trying to destroy this group because Iran knows something that apparently we don't acknowledge. They are the best source of information we get about how they're moving toward becoming a nuclear power. They are very threatening to the regime. There are 7 people right now being held hostage in Baghdad by the Iraqis to send them back to Iran so that the Iranian regime can hang them.
This is a group that has been anti-Mullah for a long time and stands for not only democratic, non-nuclear Iran, but also for equal rights between men and women. In fact, the head of the organization is a woman, which drives the mullahs nuts.
You should have her on this show. You'd be enormously impressed. You should put her on sometime on cable, you know, on international hookup and talk to her.
Would be worthy of examining. I do want to bring up to something else, and that's the Al-Shabaab who took over that Kenyan Maul.
Right.
You used to look at the threat assessment list as Attorney General. Tell me right now, what should we worry about here? Because we understand as many as 3 Americans did this operation.
Yeah, this is a group that has been a problem in Somalia, obviously, for a long time. But there's a group of Somalis living just outside Minneapolis, and they have recruited from that group people to go over and fight in Somalia. And what we're concerned about is the possibility that not only what they're doing over there, which is bad enough, but that they might come back. We had a situation during the Bush administration where somebody from Minneapolis went over there, blew himself up, and we tried to go in and offer condolences to the community, and they were very standoffish. They didn't want anything to do with the United States
They don't
government.
want to be Americans. They want to be terrorists.
I don't know what the story is, but I think we've got to make sure that we get people inside and find out what's going on with that group.
And you know what, Mayor, because this was relatively successful over there, this is going to be a good recruiting tool for them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It will be. And they will go into places like this and recruit more people. The Attorney General knows this, but 5, 6, 7 years ago, Chris Christie, when he did the Fort Lee case, the guys who were going to kill
Fort Dix 6?
Fort Dix, right? The Fort Dix case, when they were going to kill the security guards. He told me that the biggest threat are these homegrown people that are recruited by organizations like this, because we don't have the same coverage of them. We don't have the same, and we have a lot of rules that stop us from covering them. A lot of rules that are placed on police departments, on the FBI, on covering these people, so we don't get the information we get sometimes internationally. And he predicted then that these would become the real problem, 6, 7, 8 years from now. And I think that's happening.
Is this a message overall in broad stroke here? Is this all of these attacks that we're seeing and killings across the nations here? Is this a message to our president, indeed?
How about you show some strength? Yeah. How about you go on offense? How about you say to Rouhani, you want to meet? Here are the 5 conditions that we have for meeting. You give us an inventory. You let the inspectors in that you threw out 6 or 7 years ago. You disavow your statement that you're going to fool us again like you fooled us last time. You release the 7 hostages that we know are being held for you, that you're going to take to Iran and hang so you can deter people from giving us information. And how about our government send an airplane over there and take these people that we promised protection to?
Right.
We did.
This is a solemn promise of the United States. You could get 10 generals to come up here with us and explain to you how heartbroken they are that their country has broken their promise.
But we pulled out of Iraq.
How about we send an airplane there? How about we send an airplane there?
Yeah, why not?
And an airlift.
It seems fair.
Just 3,000 people.
We promised
Mayor.
those people we would take care of them, and now we've turned our back.
Thank
All
you
right.
for bringing this to our
Thank
attention,
you.
and Judge, as well, and some solutions.